Now
That's
the
good.
name Main Street Washateria. Ooh. So here's a really interesting thing. When I signed the 20-year lease on this building and had ordered up all these machines, my uncle, so I actually live in my grandparents' home.
Really?
Look, I was homeless at this point. I had sold everything, cashed out everything, and invested it into this business. And my uncle had offered up my grandparents' home, sits on his ranch, and we took him up on the offer. So we're living in my grandparents' home. And I signed the lease on this building, bought these machines, and he said, well, you know Grandma and Grandpa owned a laundromat, right? And I was
Really?
like, no, I did not know this. Why did I not know this before this? And he goes, yeah, shortly after the war, Grandma and Grandpa bought a laundromat.
World War II?
What's that?
World War II?
World War II,
Wow.
yes. So right around 1950-ish, they bought a laundromat in Brownfield, Texas.
That's
My
sweet.
grandparents were Texas kids. And I'm like, that's really cool. Like, that's amazing. I mean, I had no idea my grandmother owned a laundromat. Sorry, Grandpa, but everything's about grandmas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I had no idea that my grandmother owned a laundromat. Now, if I had ever heard this as a kid, it just went in one ear and out the other. But now I'm in this industry and somebody brought it up to me and my ears perked up. So my uncle, who told me this, his brother was turning 80 back in June of 2023, and we all jump in a car. We drive to New Mexico, where my other uncle lived. And I'm on the phone with my distributor at his home, and he's sitting in a chair half the distance that's between us. And he was listening to what I was saying. I hung up that phone like it was a flip phone. How far back does that take
Yeah.
you? I hang up the phone and he says, boy, what are you doing? I said, I'm building me a laundromat. And he said, well, you know Grandma owned a laundromat, right? And I was like, yeah, that's what Uncle Larry was telling me. He goes, well, you know your great-grandparents owned laundromats too, right?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I had no idea. And I looked at my uncle that, you know, who's letting me live in my grandparents' home, and he looks at me and he looks at his brother and he goes, our grandparents own laundromats? And my other uncle said, yeah, where do you think Ma got her laundromat from? So it's kind of cool,
Yeah.
right? I mean, everything's kind of come full circle. But the name Main Street Washateria, so Main Street, we incorporated Main Street for Cedar City, right? We have to wrap Cedar City in and embrace the local area.
Yeah.
Washateria was a Southern Texas term for laundromat.
Wow.
And April and I were on vacation in 2021, and we drove the entire coast of Texas.
Wow.
And it was a blast. We actually had a great time.
I
Texas
bet.
is beautiful, right? Humid, but beautiful. And we kept running into these places called washaterias. We had no idea. And believe it or not, we actually stopped in a place called Sargent, Texas to look at a RV park.
Oh, wow. There you
right?
go.
And the realtor that was showing us this RV park says, hey, it's got its own washateria. And April's like, okay, what is that? I've seen the name washateria everywhere. And the lady's like, that is a Southern Texas term for laundromat. Because back in the day when I did some reading up on it, a guy in the mid 40s, late 40s, somewhere right in there, had a wash house, which they were called back in the day, and a cafeteria, and he ended up merging the two, and he called it a washateria. So,
Interesting.
So because that was a Southern Texas term for laundromat, we incorporated washateria in with Main Street for my grandmother. So
Nice.
kind of hokey, but
Yeah, no, hey.
you know, it works for me, and everybody loves it because, like I said earlier, we get full-time travelers that come through here, and we get a lot of people from Southern Texas that come through here, and they were like, oh my God, I had to stop because I saw the name Washateria and I had to know if this was a true Washateria. And they were like, "You're spot on."
So they gave it to you. They gave you that it's a true washateria.
It is.
That's
yeah,
good.
they crowned me. So
Well, Randy, thank you so much for coming on.
thank you.
It was a great
I
interview.
appreciate your time.
Happy we finally got it done.
Yeah.
Very good insights.
Yeah, excited.